I started receiving messages. You know how sometimes you get a text from an unknown number that just says, "Hi." I block them, but sooner or later that same hi pops up from another number, and I block that one. Well, this started out like that, only the first message wasn't hi. It was, "We are not dead." They claimed to be using a future technology to send messages back in time, a warning of the world to come. The Horror Eternal presents We Are Not Dead, Chapter 2, Watchers. I had a hell of a sleep, or more like, lack of. But what little sleep I did get was filled with agitation, discomfort, and anxiety. Mostly me going from place to place, searching for something, or waiting for what I don't know. But in that space, it made sense. I'd been reading those damn texts describing some bizarre future, and then they stopped. I have to admit, it was kind of like a drug. Each new text another hit, prolonging my high. And when it stopped, I went into withdrawals. My mind was still waiting in my dreams, desperate for another hit. I dragged my ass to work and hangdogged my way through the day. I deliver packages for Amazon. I don't need to get into it, but the hours are long and physically brutal. Don't believe that image they sell you in the ads of the smiling delivery person. It's a living hell. I spent the entire day checking the phone, looking for the text screen to pop up, jonesing for a hit, but it never came. Now, I'll be honest, I don't have a lot going on right now. I used to live with my girlfriend, thought it was going somewhere. Turned out it wasn't. Economy shit. We moved out here from Phoenix after I sold a comedy script I'd written on spec. I was a writer. She was an actress. I got hired onto a writer's room for a forgettable one-and-done sitcom that was dropped into the Netflix black hole, but it was a solid 20 weeks of steady pay, good pay, a big fucking success for a guy who'd been in town for less than 3 months. Then production in Hollywood hit a brick wall. Strikes, mergers, economy, you name it. All of a sudden, the whole town seemed to be at a standstill. Everyone was out of work. I spent a year with nothing, no work. Spent that year writing and pitching with no bites. My girlfriend, her name was Alma, waitressed part-time, did a play at a small theater in Hollywood and auditioned relentlessly. Finally, the money was running out. I had to do something. Enter Amazon. With 4 days on and 3 days off, it seemed like a good fit, with enough time left over to write, and I did at first. Then Alma left to move in with some dude she met in the play, and I haven't felt much like writing since. Been thinking about picking up an extra day of work. I guess those texts were the most interesting thing that had happened to me in a while. I got back from work. It was late. Had a couple bites to eat, then started getting drunk. It had become my routine. Then the relief came. I jumped like Pavlov's dog. It read, I got up for work, a hazy gray morning, cold. Brushed my teeth, wet my hair, fixed it up, threw on my clothes, grabbed my work bag, and headed out the door. I stepped out into the courtyard. I was staring at my phone, so I only kind of noticed a strange shape where there shouldn't be one out of the corner of my eye. Then I glanced up, a quick dart, mostly a reflex. First, it didn't register. My eye dropped back to the screen, but something happened in a cognitive space. The image I'd just taken in didn't have an easy explanation, so reason snapped my eyes up for another look. That was the first time I saw one. The Watchers. I stepped into a complete stop. It was a good 8 to 10 feet ahead of me, this thing. In that first glance, it seemed like some kind of plant, a small tree, but there weren't any leaves, no branches. In fact, it had a different consistency altogether. Dark, fleshy, and covered in some kind of slimy film. A large, bulbous head, for lack of a better term, sat on top of the stocky trunk. 2 huge black pools on either side, eyes. fish-like. A sculpture, movie prop. It was hard to pin a frame of reference. I took a few steps forward, squinting, studying, when clear membranes, eyelids, snapped down and back up over the eyes. Blinked. I jumped back at the revelation that this was something alive. An apartment door clicked open just behind it, and an old lady emerged like a shadow cast on the wall, half hidden behind her door, staring at the thing. Her eyes met mine, trading in fear and confusion. Something about that human contact in the face of the inhuman froze me inside, a kind of incapacitating fear. I turned and walked toward the building exit and out to my car in the lot. Got in, turned the key, and pulled out of the carport. As I drove out of the alley to the street, my heart jumped. There was another one, exactly the same, planted on the sidewalk across from me as I made a left-hand turn. I continued out to the main thoroughfare, made another left, and headed toward the freeway on-ramp I took to work. There were more. 1, 2, 3, planted along the street to either side. I felt a distinct disconnect from reality. I mean, if there were so many of them, there must be an explanation, something reasonable. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many, right? These thoughts defiant in the face of the creature's irrational presence. Once on the freeway, it didn't end. There were more, planted sporadically along the shoulder of the road. I even passed one in between lanes, an alien crop planted with total disregard for the daily work routine. Exiting the freeway onto the foot streets of Hollywood was no different. As I hit stop-and-go traffic on the exit, I looked at my X feed. There were pictures of these things from all over the world. I clicked on the news, a CNN feed. They were talking about the things everyone was seeing. I saw video of crowds surrounding them, getting in their faces, trying to confront, antagonize, or simply remove them. But there appeared to be something about them. It's like they were there, but they weren't. Anything that came into physical contact with them simply passed through them, as if they were nothing more than a projection onto the screen of our reality. I'd been face to face with one. I can tell you it was as corporal as anything you've ever seen. Traffic was slower than normal, the drive twice as long. There was one planted in the middle of the parking garage at work when I pulled in, another in the lobby of the building. A small crowd huddled around it, posing for pictures. When I got to my floor, I stepped past one in the hallway just outside the entrance to our offices. Of course, there was no work getting done. The beings were all anyone could talk about, and there was one in the break room. A feeling of dread and uncomfortable laughter hung in the air. Everyone gathered around the TV in the conference room and watched the stories on the news. Then, an emergency alert sounded, warning everyone to stay clear of the phenomenon. And shortly after, the company sent out a memo that due to the extraordinary circumstances, we were free to leave if we felt frightened or stressed. As my coworkers slowly filed out, I sat in my office for a few hours watching the footage and reading comments and stories on my phone. I had no desire to get back into traffic. I called my mom. She said there was one in her neighbor's yard and they were calling it Harvey after the rabbit in the old Jimmy Stewart movie. After a few hours watching all this, a strange feeling came over me, a kind of depression, deep, dark. It felt like the beginning of something, and whatever that something might be, it wasn't going to be good. That's when I really started thinking about those rows of sharp teeth. We might not be able to touch them, but with teeth like that, they had to eat something. I finally decided to head out. Pretty much everyone had gone. It was just me and the security guards, and them. When I stepped off the elevator in the parking garage, my heart skipped a beat. Just outside the elevator doors, off to the side, just enough to ensure a proper jump scare for anyone exiting, stood a watcher. Had the one I'd seen earlier moved, or was this another one? My heart caught up with my breath and I stepped past it toward my car. Crossing the parking lot, I didn't see the one from the morning. I had to assume the one at the elevator was the same, and somehow it had moved. This was not a comforting thought. The creatures were scattered along my trip home, and at some point I hit Spotify and started playing some music. The first sign my mind was lulling itself into a state of normalcy, logging in the phenomenon that was taking place and moving on, getting back to it. I got home and pulled into the carport, walked into the courtyard, and the creature from earlier was in the same spot. I noticed my neighbor's door, the old lady I'd seen in the morning, was cracked open and something was pooling on the floor behind it. I took a few steps toward it to get a better look. Black, dark red, coagulated blood. As I stepped up to the door, I could see her blood-covered nightgown, her body collapsed in a heap on the floor. There was a gun lying next to her. I turned and went straight up the stairs to the manager's apartment on the second floor and knocked. When she opened the door, the first thing out of her mouth was that she'd seen it. A little confused, I asked what she meant. She said she was already aware of the creature downstairs. Then I clarified that the lady in the apartment below, something had happened. The manager became agitated, telling me that the old lady was crazy and that she'd taken a few shots at the thing earlier in the day. She pointed out the bullet holes in the wall across the courtyard. I told her again that something had happened, adding that it looked like the lady might have shot herself in the process, that she was on the floor, covered in blood, and the gun was lying nearby. My intention was that the manager would handle it, but she began yelling at me. What did I expect her to do about it? That I should be calling 911? I said I thought she should come down and see for herself, and she said there was no way she was coming down there with that thing standing there. I said okay then, and walked back down the steps to the courtyard. I made the call. The operator said they were swamped with all that was going on, but a car would be by eventually. I went on up to my place. I unlocked the door and opened it, set my keys on the table and flipped on the light, slung my bag over the back of a chair, and turned to go to the couch, only to suffer yet another jump scare. This time, a short scream erupted from my chest as my eyes met the black stare of one of the beings standing in my front room, between the couch and the TV. If you have enjoyed this program, please like, review, and share. Spread the word. Help us build an audience to change the future. The Horror Eternal presents We Are Not Dead. Written, produced, and performed by Roy Burdine. Sound design and mix by Mark Labib. The Horror Eternal and We Are Not Dead are copyright 2025 Roy Burdine. This has been a Spiral Opus audio production. Also from Spiral Opus, don't miss Mindraker, Background Anger, the story of a psychic assassin on a mission from God. Season 1 available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts.
Monster Forge. We make monsters.